The Five Fools is a article that I wrote several months ago. It's published in a collection of short pieces that I put on the website called The Devil's Work, so it's included in that document. But I thought it would be worthwhile producing a podcast on it because a number of people have said how useful they found it. So here goes. Basically, we're all fools of one kind or another, and these foolish archetypes come in 5 flavors. The foolish fool believes in life and is wholly driven by it. This is most people you see. They don't really question life all that much. They don't want to go down into those deep, murky waters. And so they just keep skimming along the surface. Next job, next partner, next holiday, next new car, bigger house, so on and so forth. Those things keep them going. These are the foolish fools who really never question a great deal and just, run along as society and life would want them to do so. And then we get the emotional, intellectual, and physical fools who have questioned. And because their dominant characteristic, if you like, might be intellectual or emotional or physical, while they don't believe in life, they do think that through their main capability, which might be intellectual or emotional or physical, they can build some kind of superstructure on top of life using their most potent power. And then the 5th kind of fool is the fool who doesn't believe in life, but actually he or she doesn't believe in themselves either. So what are you left with? Nothing. Nothing is the 0 fool. So let's have a look at these fools in some detail. So for the foolish fool, life is okay. Ask anybody that you know, how are you doing? They'll say, oh, okay. Even if they just lost their mother or they've just become bankrupt or whatever, ask them how they're doing. Oh, okay. So for these people, life is okay, and they have to keep skimming along on the surface in the belief that life is okay. The foolish fool gets a job, a partner, family, drives a nice car, takes a 2-week vacation every year. If the foolish fool lives an average sort of life, then she or he may get worn down every now and then by job pressures, mortgage the kids, maybe an illness now and then, but overall it's worth it. But as the foolish fool gets older and health issues start to rear their ugly head, so she might reflect now and then and wonder what it was all about. You very often find old people who are disillusioned. Life seemed to hold promise for them when they were younger, and typically those promises haven't materialized. So, as they get older and things start to fall apart, then they start wondering what it was all about. So, as the foolish fool gets still older, so she will get a glimpse of the Grim Reaper. People around her dying, relatives, parents, friends maybe, and thoughts of what could have been, missed opportunities, the way it all passed so quickly, and the people she knows start dropping like flies. Having invested everything she had in life, there is nothing left for herself. And as Gurdjieff points out, those who do not plant seeds when they are young have nothing to reap when they get older. She gets older, but not wiser. And as the compelling fascinations drop away, so there is nothing left. Only a hollowed out shell, desperately seeking meaning. The time that could have been spent acquiring wisdom was dedicated to life, because the foolish fool believed in life. And you very often see old people, and I know several myself, who go one of two ways when they get older, when they've really not done any work of their own during their life. They either become frantic each day as they approach what is inevitably going to be their death. They become frantic to cram as much into it as they can, and I know people whose schedules are just crammed, weeks ahead. If you want to talk to them, they can't see you because they're just out at a restaurant or seeing someone or going on a day trip or whatever. And then the other way that old people will go is they'll become very passive, quiet, resentful, maybe a little bit depressed, and not the least bit interested in life. And possibly that's a preferable one. But either way, both of these people have been cheated by life to a large extent. They've bought into all the baubles and bangles, and at the end of it all find that they have nothing left. Anyway, so that's the emotional fool. Sorry, the foolish fool. The emotional fool is someone who's figured out at a relatively young age that investing everything in life is a fool's game. The emotional fool seeks some higher meaning. Such effort is driven by the taste for more rarefied emotional states and pleasures associated with them. The whole of life can become centered on practices that result in these states, and like a junkie, the emotional fool can feel deprived if they are not accessible. Accompanying this quest for pleasant emotions, the emotional fool is easily conned by people uttering comforting, reassuring words. And it has to be said that the emotional fool is most likely to be the one who falls for spiritual groups, for self-help, for words that sound like loving kindness, peace, all those kinds of things, because it has an emotional appeal for them. It's just their bias, they can't help it. That's just the way that they have decided to seek some meaning that is beyond ordinary life. There is a distinct lack of intellectual discrimination, and the emotional fool can be easily carried away by group hysteria and wishful thinking. As the end of life approaches, the emotional fool realizes that he or she has nothing substantial within themselves, no real understanding, just emotional states that held so much promise but never delivered anything real. Even though the emotional fool did not believe in life, he made the critical mistake of believing in the emotions. So we next come to the intellectual fool. I'd class myself as an intellectual fool. The intellectual fool looks at life and just sees futility and chaos, because the intellectual fool wants order and systems, wants the whole thing to be laid out in a plan, some kind of diagram, some way of understanding it logically. Anyway, for this reason, the intellectual fool doesn't believe in life, because the intellectual fool doesn't like futility and chaos. The intellectual fool believes in systems, and the more intricate and complicated the better. Alchemy, cosmological systems, ancient knowledge, philosophical systems, and theology are all up for grabs as far as the intellectual fool is concerned. Order above everything else is demanded from these systems. They have to bring clarity in a confused world, because the intellectual fool just cannot tolerate the idea that maybe the world is chaotic and random. The intellectual fool will endlessly debate the meaning of every word in a system, while missing the fact that the whole structure might be good for nothing but the trash can. Intense divisions can occur between those who believe a particular word means one thing and those who think it means another. Dogma, persecution, bigotry, and other niceties are often the direct children of the intellectual fool, as he looks to create an intellectual fortress with no weaknesses. Late in life, the intellectual fool may be overcome by the futility and emptiness of his sterile intellectual creations. Something aches within him, and his systems become too much of an abomination to bear. He has tried to straitjacket life, and life has ripped him apart. The intellectual fool never believed in life, but he did believe in the power of thought, and all that thought did was build a prison. So, on to the physical fool. The physical fool is not deceived by life either, for 1 minute, and she just wants to, as far as possible, avoid the decay of the physical body. She knows it's going to happen, she's aware of it, but, with the right regime, maybe the whole thing can be put off, hopefully indefinitely. And so the physical fool sets out to preserve the body as much as possible. Yoga, diet, the gym, supplements, wheatgrass, various quack therapies, relaxation, and so on. This awareness of the inevitability of old age and death is usually subconscious. There's a feeling that things are going to end one day. There's an awareness of it. But because the physical fool isn't particularly emotionally or intellectually capable, it will be more of a kind of gut feeling than something that's been actually thought through. These people often lack emotional and intellectual intelligence, and so they are game for any scam merchants selling the latest elixir of life. As they grow older, so their denial becomes deeper. This manifests in the need for constant activity and an inability to sit quietly in their own company. In the end, they see their life for what it is, a shallow worship of the body and a futile attempt to stop the clock. The physical fool never believed in life, and in reality was horrified by it. But they did believe in the power of the body, ultimately paying a high price for investing in a rotting bag of flesh. Finally, we come to the zero fool. The zero fool does not believe in life, and he does not believe in his powers, physical, emotional, and intellectual. He or she sees these abilities as tools for breaking down instead of building up. Whereas the emotional fool will seek emotional experience, the zero fool will attempt to understand the emotions and through understanding become less influenced by them. The zero fool has no tolerance of systems or intellectual baggage. Metaphysical systems, religious dogma, and philosophical speculation are given no room to grow. The zero fool hunts down ideas and concepts that are without foundation. Ideas such as purpose, morality, meaning, spiritual, and others that might just be nothing more than imagination are seen for what they are. As far as the body is concerned, the zero fool knows he is dying, and that the facts show that death will not be cheated by excessive attention to diet, exercise, or other fetishes. The zero fool takes delight in becoming less, and abhors the expert, the devotee, the fools who think that life is a process of accumulating when it is a matter of shedding. The body does not lie. The whole of life is a slow process of the body becoming less, of dying. The zero fool wants his entire being to move to zero, and delights in it, for the zero fool has far fewer thorns, because he is not interested in picking roses. Give up picking roses.